Very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm Sneha Koshy and you're watching Beyond the Headline. Before we get into what we are calling India's taxing, quote-unquote, tax and the taxing times, let's just very quickly shift our focus to a breaking news that's emerging, a very, very tragic news. This is coming straight out of Mumbai. A chilling tragedy struck near Mumbai's iconic gateway of India as a ferry bound for Elephanta Caves capsized. Over 100 passengers have been rescued, but 13 lives have been lost, including one Navy personnel and 2 who were handling the equipment on the Navy boat. The serene waters turned into a scene of despair as frantic rescue efforts unfolded. Survivors were dragged from the waves, but the search continues for those still missing. 4 helicopters and multiple boats are searching the entire area, the sea, in desperate race against time. Initial reports suggest rough seas, but questions linger on whether this was preventable. Families are shattered, lives lost, and haunting grief now grips the city. Several questions that still remain unanswered. Rescue operations are underway. We are trying to get my colleague Abhishek at this point. Do we have Abhishek with us? All right, Abhishek joins us at this point. Abhishek, you are at the hospital. What are the scenes around you, Abhishek? Many questions that still remain unanswered, but what are you seeing around you?
See, definitely we're present here at St. George Hospital, and what we can understand, 9 of the rescued were brought here and they are currently stable. And as a precautionary measures, they will be admitted overnight over here, and primary X-rays of their chest has been taken to understand that the amount of water they have swallowed, and necessary medical treatment will be given to them. And as far as the latest update is concerned, over 100 have been rescued, 13 lives have been lost. Around 3 to 5 are still missing. Those number might increase, but we pray that it won't. And SAR operations by multiple agencies, whether it is Navy or Coast Guard, Marine Police, all those are taking out their efforts, and the operation still continues as we speak, and they are yet not over, and in the vicinity where the collision took place. And most importantly, it is to be noted, there are 2 angles to it. One is there where Navy has accepted that the speedboat, the naval aircraft, belonged to them, and it had 1 official of Navy as well as 2 other personnel, which has collided, and that has resulted into this massive tragedy, wherein they were quick enough to take the rescue measures immediately that could have saved these lives over 100. At the same time, questions are also being raised on the private boat operator or the ferry operator, that whether he was following the necessary guidelines, because the visuals in which it can be clearly seen, there are several without life jacket. There are struggling to get rescued. At the same time, what capacity was the boat and how much were there on the boat? There are several questions which still remain unanswered, as well as the Navy, which has took the responsibility of this entire incident, still looking out for missing. And at this given point of time, we expect that the next update by the Chief Minister Fadnavis will be given tomorrow morning. As the rescue operation still continues, we hope that number of missings should not increase. Back to you.
Abhishek, thank you very much for bringing us those details. Very tragic, extremely worrying. As I said, there were swift rescue and search operations that were on, as my colleague Abhishek also reported, but several questions as well being raised at this point. I'm also being joined by Captain DK Sharma, a former Navy PRO. Thank you very much, Captain DK Sharma, for joining us. For my first question, sir, how do you look at the visuals that have come up? I mean, look at the way the speedboat goes and rams or hits into the ferry. What do you make out of these visuals that you see?
Good evening, Sneha, and a very, very sad day. But as you can see from the visuals, this boat is under trials, and which means that the machinery, the engine, which was being tried by the Navy, and we had the naval personnel along with the original equipment manufacturer who was also on board. Now, the preliminary inquiries or whatever reports we are getting is that the engine probably has malfunctioned, but all the details will come out once the Navy conducts a full inquiry into it. But a very, very sad incident. Sneha, I must also tell you that we are on a very big drive to make everything in India. So this was also one of those things that high-speed boats, which are very, very much important for
Right.
doing coastal security. And you know it, what happened on 26/11, that we need assets like this and we do not need to import them. So all these efforts are being done by the Navy with the help of all other MSMEs and other industry in India. So this was one of the trials which was going
No,
on.
fair point, sir.
Unfortunately, this has gone wrong. And as the visuals show, the boat is coming at a very high speed. And you see, they have lost control at the last moment. Had the boat been able to turn to the right side, which you can see, which we call starboard, but because of the speed, maybe because of the turning diameter of the boat, that it has just gone out of control and they have lost, I mean, say, 13 casualties, unheard of in peacetime. But yes, that's a truth. Uh, a very, very sad day. But it also brings to the very important aspect that whosoever takes the ride in the boat in Bombay or anywhere else, like this boat was going from Gateway to the Elephanta, life jackets should have been there. Life jackets are the life savers. So
Absolutely.
probably that is one of the major lessons to be learned. And of course, where does the fault lines
Certainly, no one
lie?
can take that away.
But
No,
there are
Captain
fault
DK
lines.
Sharma, while we'll of course have to wait for a probe to find out where the fault lines are, Captain, I mean, the question again is, if there was an engine trial that was happening, if there was a speedboat with an engine that was on trial, is there a way to do that? Is there a space to do that? Especially when you have ferry boats seemingly around at a, you know, what's the protocol? Was a protocol defined? Is there a protocol defined? Is there anything? A simple question. If it's an engine that's being tested,
Sneha, I
it
agree
can
with
go well,
whatever
it can go wrong.
Sneha, I fully agree with whatever you're saying. All the protocols must have been followed. These people are not novices. The people who were in the boat, who were carrying out trials, and this is one of the series of trials. It is not that Indian Navy or this boat has come out for the first time outside and is doing a speed like this. Yes, something has gone wrong. Something has gone wrong with the engine, and the speed could not be controlled, or probably the steering got stuck. A lot of things would have happened. It is very difficult for me to speculate and tell you that what has gone wrong. But let me tell you, we take, as I was in the Navy, I have been, in active service for more than 35 years. We take each and every precaution before we set out to do anything like this. Unfortunate incident, madam. These are not the desks which will not collide. But yes, this should not have happened. This should not have happened. And my heart goes out to the people or to the families who have lost their members. And I pray that the people who are missing are rescued as soon as possible. The Navy has put out its might to look out for the people who are missing. There are so many crafts, helicopters, and they will not rest till the time the last man is accounted for. But a very, very sad incident. And, it should never be repeated like this.
Right. Captain DK Sharma, you've made some very important points, and yes, there are a lot of questions that still remain answered. Yes, there will be a probe, and we'll have to find out what really happened. But questions are not just from the Navy side or questions being asked of the Navy. Even the private ferry, for that matter, has questions to be asked. What about the people who were on board? In fact, the numbers seem to be changing by the hour. Initially, we got to know that there were 60 people on board. Eventually, we are getting to know that there were over 100 people on board. So was there a number at all? Was there licenses that they had? The life jackets that were used? So a lot of questions, whether it be the private ferry operators or the Navy, that really need to answer. A clearer picture needs to be emerging. But Captain Captain DK Sharma, as you and I agree, it's going to be a long night. Search and rescue operations still underway. Captain DK Sharma, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.